Well, federal politics officially wrapped up in Canberra last week. There's one politician who we haven't spoken to for quite some time. Steve Price went to see Senator Pauline Hanson to break the project drought.
We met at her property near Ipswich. It was a blazing hot day. It was 36 degrees outside. It seemed like a good time to bring up climate change.
I'm not denying there is climate change, but is it man-made? Has anyone stopped to think about the volcanic eruptions that are happening or the earthquakes that are happening? Have we actually been looking at the factors? What about the atomic bombs that have been let off in this world?
How would you describe yourself in the climate change debate? Are you a climate change denier?
Climate change is happening, but not because what they tell us, the way it is happening. The Earth has always gone through cycles. Years ago, like inland Australia was flooded. My opinion is where we are in relation to the sun, and the sun has more impact on us than what they're saying.
But you're as well placed to talk about this as anyone. You live on a rural property. It feels different this time, doesn't it? I mean, you've lived in
It's hot and it's dry. Yes, it is the driest that it's been here.
Don't you think it feels different? I mean, what would it take to turn your opinion around in regard to that there is a massive shift in the global climate?
You tell me, how are you going to fix it? How much money are you going to throw at it? What's going to change it? How many billions, hundreds of billions of dollars being thrown at this? And what's happening, Steve? For people to make a good living out of it? For scientists to get jobs that have never had jobs before? Where's all the peer review from the scientists to make these predictions? Where's Flannery? You know, what he said, never rain again to fill up the dams. What's everything they've said hasn't been the truth whatsoever.
Well, I did see a lot of empty dams on the way to your place. It is pretty bad.
And he said that prior to the floods that we've had, up North Queensland. So around the world, you're actually going to constantly have it. What damage do you think that the volcano erupting in New Zealand, what do you think that's had on the impact of the climate with one eruption?
She knows her opinion counts, Pauline and her fellow crossbenchers often having the casting vote in the Senate. Most recently, she voted down the government's union-busting legislation. They thought they had a deal.
You know, we were absolutely blindsided and taken by surprise with that final vote.
What's it like dealing with the Prime Minister's office?
Not as good as what it was under Malcolm Turnbull. I felt I had a better working relationship with Malcolm Turnbull than I do with the Prime Minister. Since the election, I've had one meeting with the Prime Minister. And
one meeting since May?
Yes.
Do you think he doesn't like you or doesn't trust you? Or?
Oh, it's not a matter of trust. I'm a person that sticks to my values, my morals, and I won't be bought. When I think things aren't right, I will actually vote against it. We've changed so much since I was a girl growing up in this country, and I don't trust the politicians out there. I don't believe they have my best interests or my kids' best interests or the people's best interests at heart.
In what's widely been interpreted as a sop to Pauline Hanson, the government appointed her as co-chair of a new inquiry into family law.
You made a comment that some women make false accusations of domestic violence. Yep. A lot of people said that that was a bitter thing to say. Why did you say that?
Because it's the truth.
How do you know?
Because in cases that I've been involved in, I've seen it. I've seen friends and family and different ones go through it. Steve, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It is the truth and it is what happens.
But you're not downplaying domestic violence, are you?
I'm not downplaying domestic violence. I don't like domestic violence. And I'm fully aware of domestic violence. But don't cover up the truth. And a lot of people will use it and lay claims, even male and female will lay claims of domestic violence just to further themselves and to get custody of the children. And I think it's wrong, it's so wrong. It's not about the partners that have split up. At the end of the day, it's about the children.
You told the Senate, quote, "My own son faced these destructive allegations in an attempt to stop him having access to his young son." So that's your own family. Mm-hmm. You'd have to say that going into this inquiry, you don't have an open mind because you've made up your mind about what you think about this.
No, you're wrong. I believe there's possibly not a family or someone who knows someone who has been affected by family law in this country. And people will tell you, even judges and lawyers and the general public will tell you the system is broken and needs fixing. We might have to throw the whole lot out and start again.
It was on the immigration front that Pauline Hanson first made her mark 23 years ago.
I believe we are in danger of being swamped by Asians. They have their own culture and religion, form ghettos and do not assimilate.
So where does she stand now?
I believe that, like Donald Trump, we should have a ban on certain countries that are not, would not assimilate with the Australian people. Different culture, different way of life. That's having an impact on our country.
You keep telling me you're a straight shooter. You would ban Muslim immigration into Australia if you could?
No, I think from those countries that are very much in pushing their own ideology, which is not compatible with our country. We've seen the problems around the world, Steve, and I don't want to see it happen here in Australia.
But what about, say, Africa? I mean, we see African gangs in Melbourne.
We don't need more Sudanese in the country.
Wherever Pauline Hanson goes, controversy is never far behind. She's still smarting from a hidden camera Al Jazeera documentary showing two of her lieutenants on an ill-fated fundraising trip to Washington.
We can change the voting system in our country, the way people operate. We've got the money to do it, we have the people, we've got the momentum, we've got Senator Pauline Hanson.
You weren't embarrassed by what was said on those tapes?
Of course I was embarrassed. Terribly embarrassed. I was very upset by it. Terribly upset. And it did me harm in that election. But I've had to get over that, as I have with a lot of other things that's happened in my political career, in my life, and I move on from that, and I have to gain that confidence and trust from the people.
With the parliamentary year over, Pauline intends to spend Christmas with her family up on her property in Queensland.
From a personal point of view, are you tired?
No.
You're not? After a year like you've had, you're not tired?
I'm enjoying the break. I will have a wonderful break with my family and friends, and well, recoup and go into battle next year.
Well, there's an open invitation for you to sit on the desk on the project one night. Do you think you'd like to do that?
No.
Never?
Steve, it's been good talking to you. You're a different character to the rest of the mob, and I get belted around enough by other people. I don't need to go into the lion's den.
I think you're a lion, mate.
So why? I mean, we take the piss out of politicians. I think we feel like we're equal opportunity offenders. The politicians, do you have a thin skin, or do you ever think?
Like, you've probably taken the piss out of me once or twice over the years, but this is what Pauline does so well, right? She plays the victim, when in reality she's a very astute politician who's been around for a long time. She knows exactly what she's doing. I think where it's more dangerous is she then turns that into something where, if you call out Pauline for some of her pretty outlandish views, she turns that not into an attack on her, but an attack on her supporters. And I think anybody that's dealing with Pauline has to recognise that people who vote for Pauline in many cases have really legitimate concerns. We just don't agree with the policy prescriptions that she's putting forward, and you have to be able to call that out, separate it, and offer real solutions to the people that want to vote for her, because they are struggling. They do have serious concerns.
I'm so happy with the difference of opinion, and you've got to say Pauline's there because people voted for her, and you have to respect that people agree with what she says and what she thinks. I just think she's not without power in the Senate, and some of the comments about climate change and sort of it being because we're close to the sun, I don't mind if your opinion is different to mine, but I just want to make sure that the opinions are informed and based in fact, and then make whatever decision you want. Yeah. That sort of stuff just scares me a bit.
Yeah, but that's not the way politics works, right?
I know, but that's such a bummer, isn't it? It really is. Time for a break. We'll see you on the other side.